definition of polarity, become vulnerable to the other. So it's about letting go of what other people think, period. And if they love it, great. I'm glad you see the value in it, right? If you don't love it, okay, you didn't see the value in it, but I'm not going to let either move me because I'm standing in my own power. And at the end of the day, I'm the only person whose opinion matters. And that's not a prideful thing. That's a standing in my power thing and being, the ruler of my realm thing.
Thank you,
Final
Josiah.
thought. Thank you.
All right. So today I have the honor to introduce Kyle and Leah, Kyle Boyd, Leah Rush, and they are amazing. They've been amazing. If you got a chance to watch the RealityCon last year, they really made RealityCon 2 last year. Even though I knew about heart coherence, they explained it in a way. And if you follow my meditations after their training, you'll notice they changed because I incorporated their teachings, which are real, powerful, scientific teachings that take us on that bridge from what Josiah is talking about in the fullness of who we are to isolating an actual scientific place where this is happening. And the more we learn about this interaction with the heart and the mind, we have learned something immensely special. There are people in the old days, in the natives, they would say, when you go into the heart, when you travel into the heart, it's an entire universe. That's where the universe was created. There's more universes in the heart than the universe we're in now. That each of us have this one thing that is all, and it's very powerful. And so when we're creating money, we're always creating from the heart. If you're creating from the mind, eventually it's all going to fall apart. We're always creating, if we can create from the heart, because you might be able to create some money with your mind, but at some point you're not going to figure it out. It's sometimes things can be too complicated and the heart can be a sort of genius. And so Kyle and Leah have really introduced me and changed and shifted the way I've thought, and with their amazing teachings, all my wealth that I've had in my life came from my heart. We're thinking from our brains all the time because that's where our eyes are located. So we naturally always put all of our emphasis on what's going on in here, and then everybody tells us the brain. Our brain, if you were to look at our body, goes all the way down into our heart. So if you got to get the RealityCon 2 to see their original teaching, because they're going to take us on another level here and another step, and introduce us to heart coherence and prosperity with some amazing exercises. I can't say enough. And like I was saying about Josiah, I got a chance to meet Kyle, and I've been talking to Kyle for a long time, and I consider him one of my best friends. He's my brother, and it's a weird thing. We all have had that experience where you meet somebody online, you never really ever met them in person, but they're like the coolest person. And Kyle has just said, I'll help you get interviews. Like sometimes I hate asking people for interviews. And Kyle's like, yeah, I'm just going to help you out. I'm just going to contact some people. And next thing you know, I have these amazing interviews. So if you see the amazing interviews on my channel, most of the time it's because Kyle said, hey, what's up? You want to interview Brian? So this is how you have amazing people come into your life that add to your prosperity. And Kyle's an example of that. So I meet him in person, and I'm sitting at the bar at the hotel waiting because he said, we can only really show up. There's nowhere to park. And Leah has had a rough time with her dog at the time. And I felt terrible I didn't get to spend more time with her dog. But he shows up at the bar, and I look over to expect Kyle, and I just see this belly button. It's like, what? And then I look up, and it was just like Josiah, this giant of a man. Like, he did not look like he was like from this planet. Like, he's hiding out amongst all the humans, and he's just tall enough that he can get by, and nobody really knows his secret power or truth, because he's a genuine angel. He's an amazing person, and Leah is an amazing, and it's amazing that they're together. And together, they're like a powerhouse. Together, they're amazing teachers. So we have an opportunity now in this timeline to actually witness in person Kyle and Leah teach about heart coherence and prosperity. Welcome again to the Reality Revolution, and thank you so much for helping the Reality Revolution out so much. We wouldn't be here without you, Kyle.
Yeah, well, that was quite the introduction, and I'm definitely so grateful to be here with you and with Leah. It's been a beautiful ride, and last year we did talk a lot about heart coherence, and today we're going to teach you about heart coherence, but we're going to do it from the perspective of manifestation. And really, we're going to dive into why heart coherence became so powerful in my life and Leah's life. And, you know, the truth is that I grew up pretty much addicted to fear. I was a petrified human being not too long ago, about 10 years ago. And the only thing I knew how to numb my fear was alcohol. And so I would just drink and drink and drink and drink. And I was working for the government, and I would have to give these big presentations, and I would give them borderline blackout, and no one knew that I was drinking, but that's how scared I was. And so when I went to go give a presentation, the first time I got sober, I stood up in front of 5 people at the city hall, and I blacked out. I was so scared. I had a panic attack. And so I had to learn a different way of life. And so one of the things for me is always trying to push myself out of my comfort zone to expand. Like that moment was so tough for me, but walking through it was the bridge to me and a new way of life. So I'm always trying to do things to expand. So last year, I pretty much memorized my presentation. Leah memorized her. Not she didn't, but I did. And it was easy for me. But what I realized was I was doing that out of fear. I was literally prepping so hard because I was fearful of not doing well. So today, I'm not doing that. And I'm going to allow whatever flows through me to flow through me. And we do have like a presentation outline, but it's going to be more a little like using our heart to see what flows through. And, you know, one of the things that I was thinking about last night is our buddy Ra. He taught us this exercise, and laughter for me is like one of the best ways to like get rid of the nerves. And our friend Ra of Earth taught us this exercise called the laughing monkey. So we wanted to take that exercise. This is just what flowed through me because I didn't have a specific game plan. And it's going to be what we're going to do right now, just to get rid of some of my jitters and just get us all super high vibration, is the laughing money monkey. So everyone needs to unmute, right? It's kind of a priming exercise. And I want everyone to imagine, go into the future and imagine your dream scenario where all the money is coming to you, all your dreams are coming true. And I want you to tilt your heads back, and you're going to start pulling all these dreams coming true into you while you're laughing. So you're going to go like this.
Money is I'm grabbing Fires through the everywhere. Right in.
Oh my
I'm recording that. I'm playing that on a
All my dreams coming true. I'm so grateful. All my dreams coming true. All my dreams true. All that I've written as dreams come true.
Hopefully you need everybody.
Thank you.
Right, so that is an example of, you know, when you ask your heart for guidance, how some different types of things can move through you. And today, that's what I try to do. Just ask my heart for guidance, and whatever comes through, comes through. So the rest of the presentation is going to be as a result of just that guidance. So it's going to get crazy again. But thank you all for doing that with us. Everyone's muted. I'll mute all just to be sure.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Could you move the people on the top?
Yeah.
Because then I can be looking at people.
Oh.
Nope. Here. Wait a second. Rewind. All right, that's more helpful. So I can look at a human being and not on the side.
So that's a new technique called the laughing money
The
monkey.
laughing money monkey. So our presentation is manifestation with heart.
Yes.
And we're just going to start off and introduce ourselves, but we figured it was better to introduce each other.
Yeah.
So this is Kyle Boyd. He is probably one of the most amazing creators that I have ever met. He can write something down or put it in a recording, and it's almost ridiculous what your mind can make come true. He created the QHC. He helped me establish the Heart Coherence Collaborative, and really his passion is helping men specifically with manifesting the lives of their dreams. And he does breathwork circles. He really just, I mean, if somebody likes a shirt, he will give them the shirt off his back. He is just a helper, a creator, and a master networker. As Brian was saying, he brings people together.
Thank you. And Leah is an agent of love. Everything she does is with pure love. I've had the pleasure of just getting to witness the love she brings to literally everything she does. And this includes just like baking, like she'll bake the most spectacular things, but she does it with love. She helps so many different people and she does it with love. And really what she's a wizard at, and what I have benefited so profoundly from Leah, is she is a master at reprogramming the subconscious mind to allow your dreams to come true. So she's created all these different things that we're going to talk about today. These different programs that you can put and listen to before you go to bed and when you wake up, that basically allow your dreams to come true incredibly quick. So she's a wizard and an agent of love, and she's beautiful. and so I'm happy to be by her side.
And that is us.
So what are we talking about now?
So we are going to talk about.
Yeah. So heart coherence is what we're going to learn today. But really, I think it's so important, because this is an abundance conference, to talk about why did heart coherence become so important in my life. So backtrack to right after that point in my life where I'd hit rock bottom. I needed to find another way of life. And at that point, somebody gave me the book, Becoming Supernatural. And I was reading through the book, Becoming Supernatural. And at this point, I was addicted to fear. And Joe Dispenza has this equation for manifestation in that book. And what he says is a clear intention. So getting crystal clear on what you want, plus an elevated emotion, is basically the equation for creating whatever you want. So from that point forward, I've actually kept it that simple. How do I get crystal clear on what I want, which we're going to dive into today? We're going to teach you all the different ways we get crystal clear. And then how do we elevate our emotions? And that's where heart coherence comes in. But what Joe Dispenza says is your clear intention, or the thought you think, sends out an electrical charge, and the emotion you are experiencing creates a magnetic charge. These two come together to create electromagnetic energy that gets broadcast out. The more elevated the emotion you are experiencing, the stronger the magnetic charge. So I like to think of it basically like the clear intention and the elevated emotion. So how clear I am on my goals and how elevated I am in my emotions, these come together to create kind of like this blueprint, or like this energetic body. And that energetic body is responsible for how quickly we manifest things. So to me, it's like, how clear can I get every day on what I want, and how can I elevate my emotions? And there's many different ways to do that, and we're going to dive into them. And the best one that I've found, and why we started the Heart Coherence Collaborative, is heart coherence.
Yes. So simply put, heart coherence is a state when your mind, your heart, and your emotions are in energetic alignment. The most important thing about this is that when you're in coherence, you have energy added to you instead of it being depleted or drained. A lot of people talked about yesterday having a lack of motivation, finding it hard to maybe complete tasks that go towards their business. So if you practice heart coherence, you will have energy and resilience. So you will feel less and less like you're drained or like you don't have motivation or energy. So there's two parts that come into practicing. The one thing, and it seems like it's almost overly simple, but it's rhythmically breathing through your heart, an even inhale and an even exhale. And what that does is, you don't have to know everything about it, but just simply put, it brings the sympathetic and the parasympathetic parts of your nervous system into balance. The second thing that you do that brings you into even more coherence, because the breathing alone will work, but if you add in renewing emotions, appreciation, gratitude, love, your coherence will increase even more. And this little chart here shows what your heart rate looks like in an incoherent and a coherent pattern. So you can see almost, you don't need to be a scientist to see that the top one, it's very jagged, it doesn't look rhythmic. It's almost as if you were driving your car and you had your foot on the brake and the gas at the same time. So that state expends a bunch of energy, makes you feel drained. And then when you're in a coherent state, you're in a more rhythmic, balanced way of being within your nervous system, which makes your brain work better, which makes your heart work better, and then also brings you into those elevated states of intuition and of creating your reality.
Well said. And so, you know, Joe Dispenza and the Institute of Heart Math. The Institute of Heart Math is the institute that studied the benefits of heart coherence. They have proven that practicing heart coherence raises your emotional baseline. So basically, if you tracked somebody's emotions that they're experiencing regularly, say it's fear, appreciation, and you average them out, everyone would have an emotional baseline, like how high they're vibrating. So what they've proven is that practicing heart coherence regularly is the quickest way to raise your emotional baseline, which means it's the quickest way to change that signature that's getting sent out and causing what you attract. So that's why I've kept it that simple: a clear intention plus an elevated emotion. Practice heart coherence every single day. And as a result of how important that's been to me and as well to Leah, we've created this group where we come together and we do heart coherence techniques. So we've created the Heart Coherence Collaborative. It's this beautiful place where everyone comes together to raise that vibration. And we do this in a number of different ways. We do heart coherence challenges. You want me to speak about heart coherence challenges, or you speak about it later?
You can do it.
Yeah, so when I was early on in that point in my life where I was struggling, I was reading Becoming Supernatural, and I was learning about the benefits of heart coherence. I wanted to find ways to hold myself accountable to practicing heart coherence every day. And for me, one of the quickest ways to do that would be like to convince my friends there's this awesome thing and it would be incredible for us to do this together. And so I reached out to like 3 or 4 of my friends, and we did heart coherence challenges. So basically I was like, I'm going to send you guys a meditation every single day. We're going to practice heart coherence. And they're like, all right, whatever, Kyle, whatever. And so by the end of it, I was like, I don't even know if they're still doing it with me. And like a week or 2 would go by after the challenge ended, and my friends would be like, hey, can we do another one of those? And so I was realizing like this was having a benefit on my friends. They were changing the way they felt, and I was starting to feel some really cool things happen in my life. And so at that point, I was like, all right, let's do another one. And so that group grew from like 5 to 20 to 50 to 100 to now we have 5,500 people in our Heart Coherence Collaborative doing 100-day Heart Coherence challenges. And a part of like Leah's incredible ideas, we decided together to start interviewing guests. So we host these Heart Coherence challenges for 100 days where we post a Heart Coherence meditation every single day, which holds me accountable to continue to raise my vibration. And then we interview amazing guests like Brian Scott, Matt Kahn, Bruce Lipton, Neil Donald Walsh. And we just have this big party for raising your vibration.
Yeah, and that is with any new practice, it's really important to have that help or that support. And because it's been really important for us, we just wanted to mention there is a technology that is biofeedback that you can actually wear. You measure your coherence and you can see your baseline changing. One other really important thing that it does is it tells you which emotions bring you the most coherence. So like for me, and I will notice for a fair amount of women that I'm saying it like, I'm saying woman,
I
like,
say it wrong.
women, the idea of compassion, sometimes that makes people wary. So you might see what emotions actually do really well for you. Appreciation is really good for me. Compassion, I think, sometimes turns me into worry. So that actually can make me a little incoherent. But I never would have known that except by feeling if I didn't use one of these devices. So when Kyle, he'll tell you a little while in the presentation about some wild things that he's made happen, but you were practicing with an inner balance for a lot of time during the day. And it really does make a difference to measure your progress and to keep you going and motivated.
Yeah. So, I've heard a lot of people talk about, we're doing a specific exercise and they feel resistance to feeling a certain way. So when I was reading Becoming Supernatural, he mentioned this device. So I bought it and I put it on. And when I was first starting to, do this rhythmic breathing, I was feeling pretty good. And I was like, oh, I feel relaxed and this is good. But I kept practicing. And I wasn't like feeling this crazy stuff that he was talking about in the book. And then all of a sudden, one day it hit me. I was wearing the inner balance on my ear, and it was like 30 minutes in, and I felt it was like everything just dissolved and I was connected to everything. And I got this euphoric rush. And so the more I used my inner balance, I kept getting into these deeper states of coherence. And at one point, I really felt like I was this energetic being where I would go in and I would be doing these meditations with my inner balance on, and I would open my eyes and I would feel like this magical creature. And I kid you not, animals were running towards me. Like all the animal kingdom was in harmony with me. And at that same time, all these things started to come to me that I had been writing down as my goals. It was like I was becoming this magnetic creature that was increasing exponentially. And so we talk about a clear intention plus an elevated emotion. Brian Scott's meditations are the best in the world for getting you to get clear and elevate your emotions. So I was running the QHC, the Quantum Healing Collective, which is this incredible group. And Brian came on and he guided our entire group in this meditation. And I was the host. So normally I would just not really get into the meditation, but this time he took us to the Infinity Palace, the Akashic Records. So Brian's guiding us in this meditation. And I have no desire really in this point for a specific partner. I really don't. I'm happy, content, everything's good. But he takes us into this room and he has us imagine our dream partner. And so I remember vividly who I saw, what she was doing. And I didn't know Leah at the time. And I'm just imagining this beautiful blonde woman, and I'm like in awe. And I'm like feeling so good. I'm like, oh my God, she's gorgeous. Literally a week later, Brian interviews me on The Reality Revolution. That interview gets released. Like 2 days later, I get a message in my inbox, and it's the girl that I imagined that I had never seen before was messaging me. Leah was messaging me, and I had just imagined her. I never knew her before. And the exact woman that I envisioned reached out to me. I was blown away. I was like, hey, we have to talk. And then I get on the phone with her and I realize she's like literally a mirror image of all my desires. And it was crazy. So this is just one example of a clear intention and elevated emotion. Do all of Brian's meditations, and I'm sure you guys already know your dreams will come true. But we're going to dive deeper now into more about how we get really clear and incorporate heart coherence into our clear intentions.
Yeah, so we talked about the importance of clear intention, and one way to focus on that is to set goals. So we're going to talk a little bit more about the importance of setting a goal, of creating dreams, of using your imagination, but there's also some really practical ways that goal setting will work for you. You are a human animal, and it's really cool, I think, to know how your brain works and why these things will work to help you be successful. So the first thing is that it takes advantage of your reticular activating system. So if you've never heard of this before, your reticular activating system is essentially that system in your brain that if you have a focus on something, it will call to attention things that have to do with it. So for example, you've probably experienced, you buy a new car, maybe it's a white Toyota, all of a sudden you start noticing white Toyotas on the street. They existed before, but you just didn't notice them. Or you learn a new word and suddenly you notice that week 3 different people saying that word. It's not that nobody was saying that, it's that your brain was not called to have attention focused on it. So if you take advantage of this, let's say you have a goal and you write it down and you are focused on that, you want a dog sitting service to be your business. Suddenly, maybe you're in line for coffee and you hear people talking about their dog, or you're in line at the grocery store and someone's talking about something that ends up being a marketing idea. Simply because you've got your spotlight of your brain focused on this goal, you will notice ways on your path to success that you will draw in things simply because you notice them. The other part of it is just having a goal and going towards it creates dopamine in your brain. So we often think of dopamine solely as when you get what you want, the reward chemical, but really you get these surges of dopamine from just being on track to your goal. So if you have a really clear goal, and especially too, if you whittle it down to some littler goals, you will get that dopamine that will combat, again, some people were saying yesterday that it's hard to stay motivated. If you have a vague, unspecific goal, you won't get those little hits of dopamine as you're actually noticing, because it's a subjective thing, what your brain decides you are doing. You will notice when you're on the way to the goal, you'll get these little dopamine surges, and that will keep you happy and energetic and motivated enough that you can keep going.
Yeah. So well said. I actually, like I said, I've kept it that simple in regards to that equation, clear intention plus an elevated emotion. I am not a neuroscience. I'm not actually somebody that really understands all these deep things. A lot of people talk about that stuff. I'm like, that's beyond me. But I am somebody that is capable of following simple instructions. And so what I did was I wrote out my goals every single day. And I look back at them and I'm blown away by how quickly they've all come true and how they have all come true. And that includes, like, I jumped into my dream job and then I realized I didn't want that job. I wrote out a new goal and then I jumped into a new dream job. And then I realized I didn't want that. And then I jumped into a new one. I manifested. I basically put down, I want this dream. I didn't have any real money to make that happen at this point in my life. And I envisioned this home. I wrote down the goal. My buddy reached out to me and he said, hey, I want to go in on this 2-family. And he wanted to put down some of the upfront costs. We bought it for $296,000. And 2 years later, it was worth $800,000. And that's a picture of my dream home. And then there's all these other cool things that happened where I basically put, I wanted to teach police and firemen heart math. I wanted to teach them heart coherence. And so I put that down with really no understanding of how that was going to unfold. So all of a sudden, I write that down. The police chief in the town I work for came to me, said his guys were struggling with stress. I said, hey, can I teach you something? He said, yes. So we teach them. Next thing you know, because we taught them, we reached out to the Boston Police Department and asked them if they had interest. And the next thing you know, we have a contract teaching the entire Boston Police heart math. And then there's all these other magical things that are unexplainable that would happen. I wrote down I wanted to go see Trevor Hall at Red Rocks. He's my favorite music artist. Red Rocks looks so gorgeous. It's right there in the middle. And so I wrote this down, and out of the clear blue, my buddy calls me and he says, I have tickets to go see Trevor Hall at Red Rocks and you're coming with me. So I get so excited. I'm like, this is going to be amazing. And then I get COVID. So I'm like, damn, that's crazy. I must have not manifested this goal or something. Like, what did I do to send that out? So he calls me while this concert is going on and he puts me on FaceTime. And all of a sudden he goes, hey, you're not going to believe what's happening right now. He goes, the cameraman is zoomed in on my screen and you're on the big screen right now. And so that picture right there is me on the big screen at Red Rocks. And he said I was on the big screen at Red Rocks for 3 minutes. So basically, even though I didn't actually get to go to Red Rocks with my friend, I was there. And it's because I wrote that down, and that was a quantum equation. So what I realized is that we did not do heart coherence. So I think it'd be good to take a second to do some heart coherence.
Yeah, you know, I was thinking after we talk about goals, when we go into the I remembers, we could get into a coherent state.
Okay.
So we'll do it then.
All right, cool. Yeah.
Yeah, so we are going to next have everybody write down a goal. So if you have 3 goals, actually. So if you have a piece of paper, that's great. If you have your phone or something that you could write digitally, that's also fine. And we're going to just write one goal in these 3 areas. So family and relationships, money and material possessions, and physical health and well-being. Anything that's you would like to accomplish sometime within the next year. So we'll just take a minute to do that. And you can keep writing if you want as I go into the next little bit of information if you haven't finished. Okay. So we're going to teach you all of these different ways and incorporate heart coherence into them. But as you're probably noticing as a theme, really the best way to create what you desire is to write about, talk about, and or visualize it as if it's already happened. And making sure that you are in a good state when you do that. So making sure that you're in an emotionally positive state rather than creating from, let's say, a place of fear. And you're probably familiar with a lot of different things on this list. Obviously, Josiah just spoke. And your imagination really does create your reality. But we often are trying to create from a place of fear. So you're wanting something, you're desiring something, and you end up manifesting not what you want, but what you are or what you fear. So we're going to go into a process that will really make it so that you can transverse yourself into that life you want and skip that natural inclination to go towards limiting beliefs or going towards fear. And the basic process is that you imagine that you are, let's say, 6 months or a year in the future. And instead of just sitting in today and saying, I want this, I desire this, you're pretending that it already happened. And you are describing it as if it's already happened with a lot of emotion and excitement. And you basically will trick your mind and you will make it so that you don't have those fears and those limiting beliefs that, because they're so strong, end up being what you create over and over. I'm sure you've noticed that you want something, but end up creating the same pattern over and over again. Someone was talking about having a $16,000 a year ceiling. Why does that happen? Because you've got this belief, because you've got this fear, and it creates almost like a natural ceiling or set point for what you will achieve.
Yeah, well said. So we, like Leah said, which I really like, is you don't get in life what you want, you get in life what you are. We attract what we are. We attract the vibration we're putting out. So when we have goals and we say, I want this thing, sometimes that thing is off in the distant future because we want it. So there's separation there. So when we do this technique that Leah's talking about, where we act as if something has already happened and we talk about it as if it's already happened, it becomes who we are. And on a quantum level, that's what we attract. So we've used this technique. We learned it from Kyle Cease. There's Neville Goddard techniques that do that too. Kyle calls it Kylego. We call it I remember whens. But I remember when I met Leah and she actually was using this technique and we started practicing it together. And I realized like, oh my gosh, this is so powerful. And a lot of the things that we started talking about came true instantly. I said, I remember this. This is a separate example that I haven't talked about, but I said, I want to be director of a heart math. I want to be director of heart math in Massachusetts. And so basically an example of this would be like, I remember when I became director of heart math in Massachusetts, it was so amazing helping all those people. I taught all those people heart coherence and it felt so good to be doing what I loved every single day. And so I was doing that, talking to Leah. All of a sudden, this lady reaches out to me and she says, we're creating this concussion center. This is actually true. This lady out of the clear blue reached out to me and said, we're creating this concussion center and we need somebody to lead the heart math unit. And we've seen what you're doing on heart math and we want you to lead this group. So it's like, I affirmed it. And as a result of me stepping into that, it showed up in my life. And
Yeah, and the important thing to talk about is that you are really using the power of your mind and your brain at the same time. So you're kind of like beating your mind by talking about this as if it's already happened. But when we do it, we're adding in heart coherence. So you're really in alignment to bring the most out of this technique that's done in other forms to add in the heart coherence. And one of the crazy things that happen that this slide is about, do you want me to explain it?
yeah, absolutely.
So Kyle Cease does a version of this, and he's somebody I really loved, and I read all his books, and I was a huge fan of his, and he was a dream person to get on the HCC as a guest. So we were doing, he calls it a Kylego. It's essentially, we call it and I remember when, but it's when you're imagining things that have already happened. So we were doing a Kylego about interviewing Kyle Cease and doing a Kylego with him, and then it didn't even take, was it like 2 weeks later?
Yeah, so every day Leah and I are doing this. Remember when, we hopped on Zoom and we were doing the Kylego with Kyle Cease and how amazing that was? Meanwhile, I have no connection to Kyle Cease. Out of the clear blue, I get a call from my friend, Kim DeRamo, and she says, hey, I need a favor. I need you to connect one of my friends with Kyle Cease. I need you to connect Aaron Abke with Kyle Cease. And Aaron Abke was my friend. And so I said, no problem. But I said, do you mind if in return I interviewed Kyle Cease? And she said, absolutely. And sure enough, within like a few weeks of doing these I remember whens, we're on a Zoom with Kyle Cease doing the process that we dreamed of. So it's pretty powerful how this works.
Yeah, it's really effective. And sometimes it's been surprisingly quick. And that is the power of the heart.
Absolutely.
So we are going to actually pair you guys up to do an I remember when with a partner. There'll be mostly 2 people in a breakout room. You might have a couple rooms with 3 if it's not even. Kyle did a couple of examples.
Yeah, I can do one more. So one of my dreams is to interview Tony Robbins. So to take your goal and basically imagine it as if it's already happened. So I have no connection to Tony Robbins, but what I need to do is I need to imagine this interview has already taken place. And so I say, remember when we interviewed Tony Robbins and how amazing that was? We hopped on the Zoom and he did the priming exercise. He was beating on his chest and then we guided him in heart coherence. It was the highest vibration ever. And then from that moment, all those incredible things that happened, he loved the Heart Coherence Collaborative. He started connecting us with everybody. And now it's like the Heart Coherence Collaborative is the place where everyone's coming to just get in their heart and everyone's healing and it's so healthy and happy and whole. And so that's an example of a Kylego. So does anyone, if you have any questions, just send them in the chat. But what we're going to do is we're going to, actually, I don't see breakout rooms.
Oh, are
Oh,
we?
no, there it is, right there.
Okay, so what we're going to do, before I'm calling them, I remember when, so it is the same thing. It's just that Kyle does something similar and he calls it that, just so you're not confused. But before we go into the breakout rooms, we're going to get into a coherent state together. So we're going to teach you how to do some heart coherence breathing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then get into an elevated state. And this will make the power of your I remember when even greater.
Yeah, so I would love for everyone to unmute themselves again, because we might just decide to turn it up a notch, if that's okay. Really get the heart bumping.
Yeah. Whoop, whoop.
All right. So if everyone could focus your attention in the area of your heart. And imagine that your breath, you can put your hand on your heart if it helps. Just focus your attention in the area of your heart and imagine that your breath is flowing in and out of your heart, your chest area, breathing a little slower and deeper than usual. Try a pace of 5 seconds on the in breath, 5 seconds on the out breath, in and out through the heart. Just bear with it. Just continue to breathe in and out through your heart. Now, as you're breathing in and out through your heart, I want you to think about a moment in your life that you're really grateful for. It could be any moment, but just be in that moment now, see what you saw, feel what you felt, hear what you heard. Just really try to be in that moment and turn gratitude all the way up as you breathe in and out through your heart.
Learn to breathe in and out of your heart. Focus on a person or a pet that you really appreciate. And imagine that you are breathing in love from this person or pet's heart, and that you're breathing out of your heart love for them, to them. And just cycle around and in these breaths in and out of your heart, where you're appreciating and receiving love back from this living being.
All right, so what we're gonna do now is I want everyone to reach out your hand. We're gonna reach out and grab memories and pull them into our hearts. And so when you pull these memories into your heart, I want you to yell yes, okay? So I want everyone to think of a moment you're proud of. Reach out, grab that moment, pull it into your heart and say yes.
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 Another moment you're proud of.
Yes.
Reach out, grab that moment,
Yes.
pull it into your heart
Yes.
and say
Yes.
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 Think of a sacred
Yes.
moment, any
Yes.
moment, it could be a special moment. Just think of a sacred
Yes.
moment. Reach out, grab that moment,
Yes.
put it into your heart and say
Yes.
yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Think of a
Yes.
moment you laugh uncontrollably. Reach out, grab that moment, pull it into your heart and say yes.
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 Give another silly moment. Reach out, grab that moment, pull it into your heart and say yes.
Yes.
Think of a moment that was really exciting to you.
Yes.
Reach out, grab that moment, pull it into your heart
Yes.
and say yes. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna step into the future. We're gonna step into the future and imagine if your dreams are coming true. And grab those moments one by one and pull them to your heart. So grab those moments and count.
Yes.
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 Keep grabbing them. Keep grabbing them.
Yes.
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 I want everyone to make a sound like your soul is on fire at the top of your lungs. On the count of 3, make a sound like your soul is absolutely alive at the top of your lungs. Ready? Go.
Soul is on fire. Yes. That's
And
all
Madam,
on
yes.
fire.
All right. So now
Okay.
that we're in a peak state,
Now that we're in a peak state, we're going to go into these breakout rooms and you'll just have a minute. So you're just going to pick one of the goals from the list that you wrote out and just elaborate on it a little bit. Talk about it as if it's already happened. No limiting beliefs, nothing, just remembering with emotion.
yeah, so you're going to go in this room. There's going to be other partners and just talk to them about your goal as if it's already happened.
So just give me create the right number of rooms. How many people are in here? 88?
So 40. Yeah, so people are leaving off because of the grandparents. But
Oh, okay. So if there's, I think there might be a little bit. All right. So I'm going to create that. I'm going to open the rooms and it should come up with a little message. It'll be really quick. Just take 30 to 60 seconds, talk about it as if it's already happened, and then exchange with your other person. People could pick to not go into a room. You could not click on the button if
Yeah.
somebody didn't want to do it. It's just gonna take a couple minutes.
yeah. It seemed like people were leaving. So
I think just a couple of people.
Yeah.
So we have a few people that are left here, and I'm just going to keep track of the time so that I send people a message when it's time to switch.
Okay.
Is anybody in our room that wants to do one? Or who needs help?
I don't know if these people are getting in the rooms.
I can't figure out where to go, brother.
It was just me, one
So-
participant.
They're open. You should be able to click something that says to join a room.
I did, and it was
Okay.
just me. Okay.
Oh, okay. Is that happening
Yeah.
for everybody?
All right. I'll just join a room then.
Yeah, just join
Yeah,
one of those
just,
rooms.
yeah. Do you see where to do that?
Well, not anymore. Remember, it was a pop-up, and I had already clicked on it, and then I left.
Ha ha ha. Can you hear me? Can I hear you?
Hello, my friend. I can hear
Hey,
you.
what's up? All right. So tell me your I remember when.
Oh, I remember when, and I'm just so thankful for this past year and that we've been able to grow our company, UVU Cares, to being able to provide 100 people with their dream job. It's just so blessed that they're able to discover and live and serve in the way that they see fit and live their best life and serve all the people that come to our company. Amen.
Amen. That's amazing. I am so grateful. I remember when we came together and people actually knew the effect the reality revolution had made on the world, and the whole world changed, and we found peace and love, and everybody came together. Can you remember when there was
I
this
do.
moment where everybody realized that there was something happening in the world and everybody changed? Everybody came
Absolutely.
together and they were united. I can't believe it happened, but it did. We did it.
It is amazing. We're so blessed. Thank you so
I can't believe we did it. So, all right.
Amen.
Just go. All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Brian.
I guess it kind of requires me on knowing what I want, though, right?
You
So,
can just talk about what it feels like. You can keep that as simple as you want. You could literally just say that you met somebody, what it feels like, what it made you feel like.
yeah. So what it feels like It feels, I haven't dated in 6 years, so it's kind of hard to remember. Ooh, I'm all sweaty. Maybe I should pick a
It's
different
okay.
one.
Yeah, if you,
Why don't we give her more time later? We'll do one with her.
yeah, we'll do it with you later. All
Thanks.
right, I'm gonna close
Thanks
the
a lot.
room, so I'm just gonna give people a minute. Does anybody else want to share something with
Oh, ours
us?
was amazing. Ours was amazing.
Yay.
I had Dr. Michelle. It was awesome. I was
Oh,
excited.
that's so cool.
Nice.
I went in room 14, but no one was there.
Oh,
I went
well,
in room,
Thank you so much.
if anyone
I went
was
in
there-
room 30 and no one was there.
We'll
if
be
you
sure
want
to do
another
more in the
opportunity,
future.
Send us a message and we'll do one with you.
Yeah.
Whoever didn't get
Yeah.
a chance to do one, we'll do one with you. So just send us a message and we'll take your name down. We'll do one with you after. All right, so let's
So
we'll
is-
dive back in. I'll mute everybody. right
Okay.
here.
Do you want to just close that?
Yeah. Everyone will be back in 20 seconds.
And I'm just checking, we have 9 minutes left.
Okay.
Are we back too early, are we?
I accidentally pressed the wrong button. I was in the middle of.
You're okay. I came out too. And so
Awesome. Yeah.
Okay.
If everyone could just write your results, we'll love to look at those after. But that is such a great way to cement in a new way of being. I recommend finding an I Remember partner. Leah
In
and
this
I,
group.
in this group.
Yeah, find a partner and do it every day. That's what we did that made it work. We were committed to doing this every day, and sometimes in a week or two, something crazy.
You
can
will be
happen.
shocked how quickly your dreams manifest.
So pick a person in this group.
Yeah. All right. Cool. So I think everyone's back now. Yeah, everyone's back. Good. All right. So what's next?
So yeah, so we are talking a lot about different things that will really reprogram your subconscious, and you can do a few things. I mean, you can actually do a hypnosis, you can do subconscious reprogramming recordings, and you can really, like I was talking about, just record something for yourself. And do you think you could put that at the top so that people are at the top? You can, in just your own voice, record a whole thing. That's almost like an extended I Remember activity that we just did, where you're just talking about things as if they've already happened. The important, really nice hack to know about reprogramming your subconscious is that the half hour before you go to sleep or after you wake up, your brain is in a natural state of hypnosis, alpha into maybe theta. And so you will absorb things really quickly. So if you're coming up against a lot of blocks, and the way to know what your subconscious program is what's difficult for you. Is it money? Is it relationships? Is it business stuff? And whatever you have a hard time with or problems with, you got a bad program.
Yeah. Yeah.
And how do you write a new program? We talked about doing those recordings, having a partner that you do I Remember whens with.
Yeah.
The other great way is a mind movie.
Could you talk about the importance of morning and at night?
Yeah.
Because that I think is really been huge for me.
Yeah, so that's essentially what it is. I'm a hypnotherapist for work. So the subconscious mind, how it works and what makes things easier for people is what I really love and focus on and study. And you can take advantage of this state where you don't have to do a deep meditation. You don't have to do a lot of work. Your brain is simply in what is a hypnotic state. It's the brain waves that are produced when you're in hypnosis. So whatever you do in the morning, right when you wake up for a half hour, or at nighttime, it will come in a state where your brain is more neuroplastic. And when you're in that natural state of hypnosis in alpha and theta brain waves. So take advantage of that. If you're having trouble with something, if you feel like you hit a money ceiling, or if you have limiting beliefs that you're not good enough, use that time in the morning and at the nighttime before you go to sleep to reprogram yourself
Yeah.
Why not do it when it's easy?
Yeah. Yeah. And so like, I'm not somebody, like I mentioned before, that's like understands all the science like in depth. But when I heard that I'm in hypnosis in the morning and at night, and I'm hearing all these people that I look up to, like Wayne Dyer, Tony Robbins, say the morning and nighttime is so important, it became incredibly important for me to like, maximize that time through subconscious reprogramming. And what I used before I met Leah was mind movies. Since then, I've been using the custom programs Leah makes for me, and they are actually mind blowing. But mind movies is just one of many things you can do. It doesn't matter to me what you do, but consider looking into subconscious reprogramming techniques and take advantage of the morning and at night. And so how mind movie works, I create these on my own. I take all my goals, I convert them to the affirmed version as if they've already come true. And then I put a picture with that affirmed goal. So for example, months ago, I put in my mind movie, I love the view in my new home. And that's me sitting at a beautiful hotel, looking out at the ocean. I loved this hotel room. When I was there, I felt a high frequency. I think our connection's a little shaky, but so I was in this hotel room. I wanted that in my life. So I put in my mind movie, I love the view of my new home. All of a sudden, a week ago, we get this opportunity to live in this home that is overlooking the water for free. So we're literally living in a home like that. And that just came to fruition because it was in my brain. It's who I am. And because it's who I am, home, and I go down to the water and I hop in, and all these other things have happened. We're running short on time. One of the things that was in my mind movie is we've been asked to speak at so many different amazing conferences. That's a picture with us with Brian last year, the most amazing conference, and we got asked again to come speak at the most amazing conference.
And the important thing to add in there is that you're doing the heart coherence breathing while you're watching the mind movie. So
Yes.
it's like that added up-leveled superpower. And we're going to be closing with an exercise, but we just wanted to talk a little bit because sometimes we get asked when we're teaching heart coherence, like almost, is it bad to just focus on positive emotions? And is that some sort of spiritual bypass? Questions like that. And so we just wanted to talk a little bit about the other emotions, about what we call not negative, but depleting emotions. So anger, resentment, sadness, disappointment, all those fun emotions in that bag. And we just wanted to really stress that it's not so much that it's not a matter of that you're just like pretending to be happy all the time and that's it. When you practice heart coherence and practice being in these renewing emotions, you will change your baseline so you experience more happiness so that you're more resilient. But you can also, with a spirit of love, embrace, have compassion for, and love all of the emotions on the spectrum. And really, I think the extension of what a lot of people would call negative emotions, like how sadness turns to depression, how anger turns to resentment, is avoiding or distracting from. So if you really deal with your emotions in real time and have the renewing emotion of love to surround your emotions and listen to your emotions, you actually tend to not stay in them. Everybody, I think, can connect with the idea that children feel all kinds of emotions, but they will be really pissed off for 5 seconds. They don't carry resentment that their mom didn't give them a cookie like throughout the day. They feel it, they're with it, and then they move on. And I always think the more we can do things like children, probably the healthier we would be in our minds. So we just wanted to really stress that dealing with all of your emotions with love can still be renewing, and that it's not about skipping bad emotions.
Yeah. And so we're going to do an exercise because we heard a lot of people talk again about, what they're stuck on. And when they want to manifest a certain thing, they feel a certain way and they feel like, oh, I can't, get up and dance, or, oh, I can only make this much. And I would believe that's probably your analytical mind, you know, the fight or flight, like all these, you know, like your programming. But what I've learned is when I ask my heart that same question, I get a different answer. So we wanted to teach you guys the process of, if you're struggling, try asking your heart. You know, if you have a block, ask your heart. So this presentation basically is all around clear intention and elevated emotions. So all of these things we were trying to teach you is just ways to get crystal clear and elevate your emotions. Come join us in the Heart Coherence Collaborative, where we will just literally continuously be elevating our emotions. One thing I wanted to touch upon before Leah guides us in a quick exercise, because it's been the most important thing for me, is service. So all emotions vibrate at a different frequency. The higher our emotions, the quicker we can manifest, and the higher vibrating our emotions, the quicker we manifest, the stronger our magnetic charge. The highest vibrating frequency is wholeness, when we see everything as ourself. So the quickest reminder for me to vibrate at that frequency, to see everyone as myself, is to wake up in the morning and say, please put people in my life I can help. And then whatever shows up, follow that. And for me, that's allowed me careers. That's allowed me all the answers. Just please put people in my life I can help. And then at the end of the day, whoever's come in my life that I had the opportunity to help, I just say, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for putting that person in my life that I could help. And it's the best feeling. I get out of all those self-oriented feelings when I am in service. It's my freedom. So Leah is now going to guide us in that process of allowing us to ask our heart these questions.
Yes. So we are going to just all close our eyes, get comfortable, and just begin breathing in and out of your heart, and ask yourself if there's a situation, an attitude, or a mindset that hasn't been helpful to you. And just to remind and clarify, we're breathing, imagining our breath is flowing in and out of our heart, 6 seconds in, 6 seconds out. And this will just take you into a state of neutral. So you can ask yourself this question. And you might be really just asking your mind, asking your surface self, what's something that you're struggling with? What's come up for you over this weekend so far as a block, a limiting belief, an attitude that doesn't serve you, or a situation that you don't know what to do or you're having trouble with? So just file that away. And we're going to continue to breathe in and out of our heart, 6 seconds in, 6 seconds out. And just so you can sort of reset yourself from whatever you were just thinking about, just imagine, again, if you wanted to do it with your hands, just imagine pulling some of those really happy, good things that you thought about before. You can set yourself and just pull some happiness back in that you were feeling before. And still breathing in and out of your heart. Just feel grateful for this group, for all of these people. Smile, knowing that you are on the same path for you. And keep breathing in and out of your heart, and just ask your heart, is there a solution? Is there a better attitude? Is there a different way of feeling, thinking, looking at this? And feel like your heart is opening up to any guidance, any feedback. And just take note of whatever your heart is telling you or suggesting or offering. And if nothing comes up, then you can set the intention to come back when there's more time. Breathe again in this way and ask your heart again. There's no pressure. Your heart will still be there. If something did come up, set an intention to install this solution, this belief, this attitude into that part of your life that needs it. And just take a last breath in and out of your heart, and you can open your eyes whenever you're ready.
Yeah, babe.
Thank you, brother. That was amazing. Thank you, Leah. I love that.
Thank you for having us.
And everybody, time was actually slowing down there. It wasn't the internet. The time was actually slowing down. So it wasn't what you think. But I know that I enjoyed that. And it's just a continual reminder for everybody. While you're making your money, make sure you're in alignment with your heart. Your heart and mind need to be aligned. And most of the time, we're not aligned unless we get in touch with those powerful, positive emotions. And it's absolutely critical. I guarantee you, anybody of major wealth that has a successful blueprint installed in their life is coherent with their heart on some level. And so it is the key. If you're not in alignment with your heart, you can make money and then it will go against you at some point. Your heart will always guide you into better opportunities, better situations, and you will be in overall protected. The heart loves you and wants to protect you. If you're in alignment with the mind, you don't get that advantage, and it's very important. So I'll see everybody at 1:30. We have KT coming on. I'm going to talk about the feeling of wealth, the feeling of large sums of money, and then we're going to have KT talk about the feeling of childlike joy. And I'm excited because the goal when we leave this, we have a lot of 30-day exercises that we're here to do now. And so the goal when we leave this is that we will have a feeling in our bodies. The moment we're done, after we're singing tonight, I want you to leave with the feeling that you anchor yourself with. And so all of this, you have ideas and thoughts, but we're putting you into a state and you're now firmly rooted in the tree. And that branch is growing, and I want you to just accept the light that's allowing you to grow. The water's coming to you, and it's happening, and there's nothing that you can do to stop it now. You can resist it, but we've actually gotten rid of all the resistance. It's gone. You've been reborn. You've been taken, as Josiah said, through a portal, a literal portal. Light beings pushed us through, and we are on the other side now. And get ready, because it's going to be a wild, wonderful wave of fortune. So I'll see you guys at 1:30 my time, Pacific time, which might be whatever 4:30 for you guys, right? But I will see you soon. And then thank you so much. Welcome to the Reality Revolution.
Thank you.